Hey, it's Brian and Rachel Goulet of the Goulet Pen Company and Ink Nouveau, and we are here. It's January 9th of 2013.
Yep.
And we're here for Right Time, the first Bright Time of 2013.
Yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah. Originally, this was supposed to be the second Right Time of 2013, but we kind of canceled last week at the last minute, mainly because things have just been so crazy.
It was our first day back at work after a long weekend and inventory and all sorts of stuff, and we just did not have it in us, especially all the family in and out of town, and you know.
Well, and the way the holidays hit too, it made it so that, you know, we were basically off for 2 days, 2 weeks in a row. Mm-hmm. So, and we were short-staffed, and we had people on vacation and stuff, so it was pretty crazy.
End of the year shenanigans, you know.
Shenanigans.
You know, all the tax junk I have to deal with.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're back.
Yep.
Things have been busy. We've been keeping up all right.
Very busy.
Yeah, but we want to make sure we had the time to do this.
Yeah. So here we are. We don't have a real stacked itinerary for tonight because we're kind of just easing our way back into it, but we do have some good stuff to talk about.
And it's in a lot of questions we want to ask you guys and get some feedback. So
sure. I think the latter topic, the goals and things for 2013 is going to take up a good bit of time. So that's going to be a very, very interactive part of the broadcast here tonight.
Which is not the order that you listed it on the blog.
It's not? Oh, yeah. I listed that first, didn't I? Well, we're doing that last, so yeah. Sorry.
I want to talk about, how about we do it like almost completely in reverse order. Talk about the holidays first.
Yeah, that was actually kind of my plan, was to,
to do it in reverse order.
Was to do it in reverse, yeah. So,
well, first talk about our holidays. It's been 3 or 4 weeks since we last were here.
Yeah.
Our daughter turned 1 right before Christmas.
Yes.
So we had her birthday party.
She was born
and all
4
that.
days before Christmas, the poor girl. So her birthday is forever going to be intertwined with Christmas.
We had a separate party. The theme was Christmas, but she's 1 and she didn't know. So we had that, and then we had Christmas, and we actually hosted it here for the first time because with our house we can now actually have room for everybody.
Yeah.
So we had Christmas here, had our tree and everything, you know, did all the presents for the kids and everything. It was really nice having you know, getting to see both sets of families and yeah. What happened after New Year's?
We moved our sofa in the living room.
Well, yeah, we had.
You may notice that we have a different background than we've had in past videos.
Yeah, the red walls on the other side were flip-flopped.
We can accommodate more people in this room if we move the sofa here. So that's what we did, and we kind of liked it, so we just kept it, and we're trying it out for Right Time. I kind of like it. It's a simpler background than.
Yeah, I mean, it's simpler in color, but it looks more ornate.
Well,
it's like fancy
you know,
fireplace.
We're trying to class up the place, you know.
Not really.
As I'm wearing flannel. Anyway,
yes.
So.
And we'll have to tell you about our new car a little later.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, we can go ahead and get into that if you want. We got a new car today. Not new. It's 10 years old.
New to us.
Yes, it's a 2003 gold Pontiac Aztec. And
for real.
Some of you may be wondering, I thought you had a 2003 gold Pontiac Aztec.
We do.
We do. Now we have 2 of them.
We really do.
We actually,
it's kind of nuts.
We love the car so much that we wanted. We kind of always said like, we were thinking about a second vehicle, and the thing is so versatile for both family and utility.
Well, we needed something that was all-wheel drive because we have kind of a ridiculous driveway. It like goes through the woods and that sort of thing. We were really worried that if we had snow and ice, that we would actually have trouble getting out of our driveway.
And we live on a private road too, so.
So we're looking for something with all-wheel drive and looking at all the specs and like, you know what, Aztec kind of meets our needs. And we're shopping around and we found one. It just happened to be the same color in the same year.
But it's all-wheel drive and it's got really low miles.
Really low, yeah, and it's nice and clean, so you get like a little fresh start. So
yeah,
you know, it's just not as ugly as, you know, the reputation it has. It's really not that bad anymore.
Yep. So now we have matching
Breaking Bad mobile.
Hey, that show will make you want an Aztec.
So we're told.
Hopefully
we haven't seen it yet.
Hopefully it won't make you want to cook drugs, but you know, the Aztec part is cool.
Anyway, so we had that little adventure. We had New Year's. We had a fluorescent light bulb shatter in our kitchen and explode all over the first floor of the house.
That's part of why
we canceled
the broadcast.
It happened on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, it was like, well, New Year's Eve was 2 days before we would have done the broadcast. So we had like this day planned out where we were going to take care of all this stuff like in our personal life because we tend
I was going to get a haircut. We tend to do some shopping. It's going to be nice. It's nice and relaxing.
Yeah, and then I was changing the light bulbs in our kitchen.
Those big, long fluorescent
ones. Those 4-foot fluorescent tubes. I dropped 2 of them, and they exploded all over the kitchen.
Nobody was hurt. Luckily, the kids were napping and stuff, but we had to.
It was terrifying.
We had toys. We'd shake out every toy, get all the glass shards out, all the cleaning, and then you have
all. It makes me tired just rehashing all of it now, but
and of course they're like hazardous too, so it's crazy.
It took us like 6 or 7 hours to clean it all up carefully and everything, and it was just that was really just depressing because I knew as soon as it happened, I was like, well, there goes the rest of the day.
Yeah, we did physical inventory, which is always an adventure, discovering.
Not on the same day.
No. That was 2 days before that, on a Saturday. We've actually worked the last 2 Saturdays.
Yes, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
We did full physical inventory, which is something we're actually going to do more
regularly.
Often now.
I hate overselling items. I want everything that says in stock on our site to truly be in stock, and likewise out of stock. I don't want to find something like, oh, we could have sold this, and so by doing the inventory more often, we should be able to make sure we're catching our mistakes and make sure that when you buy something from us, you are actually going to get it, which 99.9% of the time it's true, but every once in a while we do make a mistake. So we're going to do a better job trying to keep up with that.
Yes.
We've just grown so fast and hired new people, and it's just, sometimes the growth kind of got away from us a little bit, but now that we're going to be a little more careful. I mean, that makes it sound really bad. It really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
well,
it's something that is important to us that,
Yeah. Well, it really helps everybody. It allows us to be more accurate and everything that you just said. So,
yeah.
It's good.
So, then we had New Year's.
So expect that. It's not going to be a big deal. It's a few hours every few months.
Yeah, we'll probably do it like quarterly. Just a couple hours will be down. Yeah. And the more often we do it, the less time it'll take.
Mm-hmm.
So, New Year's and back to work, and we're actually nice and caught up now. So we were behind for a couple of days with all the holiday stuff, but we're in good shape now. So if you order, you'll have your normal same or next day shipping. So
yep.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Joseph's really into trains. He got a bunch of trains for Christmas. Got a big wooden train set that he's absolutely in love with. So
we need to speak louder. Everybody's saying the audio is really quiet, and I can tell from the meter it's really quiet. I don't know why it's so quiet right now.
Okay.
We can get really close to the mic and speak directly into it.
Everyone's like, don't speak so loud.
No, we should try and speak more directly into it, though. Anyway, we got our kids sleeping upstairs, so it's really hard for us to be like loud and projecting into the mic when we have our kids asleep.
You should be able to adjust the audio on your end. You can obviously turn your computer volume up, but you should be able to, within the video, adjust the volume, I believe.
I think so.
I'm sure. I have it up on my screen right now. Let me see.
Yeah, give it a shot.
I'm muted.
Sorry, working out the kinks.
But yeah,
and stuff.
There's a little volume slider, so you have the volume slider on the video you're watching, and then your actual computer too. So. And
we're hearing that it's much better on Justin TV, like actually on Justin TV instead of the embed thing.
Oh.
I didn't know if there was ever a difference. That's interesting. Thanks for pointing that out.
Anyway, that was our holidays. It was really nice. We got to see family, and
yeah, it was great.
It's nice.
So, enough about that. You guys are wanting to hear about some new stuff.
Fountain pens.
Yeah.
Inks and things.
Yeah. And things.
So, first up, we have new Iroshizuku inks coming tomorrow. Finally got the tracking. It was originally supposed to come out like November, December. It got pushed back a little bit. So, not too bad. Not too far behind Japan. So, there's 3 new colors. And Brian's going to pull them up so I can see them.
Yes. Sorry. Give me a second.
Okay.
There you go.
We have Ama-Iro, and forgive my pronunciations. It's a sky blue. One of our customers actually sent us a letter in this he bought from Japan early, and it's really nice shading. Much more saturated than I'm thinking of there's some Jeroboam that are kind of close.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got a little more saturation. Very nice shading. Shin-Kai, I'm guessing. It's like a blue-black. They call it like a deep sea something or other. It's kind of a blue-black, like a dusty blue. So we'll have to see how this looks in person. These are not our swabs. These were provided to us by Pilot. And then there's Take-Sumi.
Take-Sumi. I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay. I'm learning.
It's not that
It's
crazy.
a black. It's called bamboo charcoal, but it's basically a black from everything I've seen.
Oh, and this is one we're real excited about because
It's completely missing in the line. It just makes sense.
They originally started out with 17 colors in the line, and then they announced, when was it, like around this time last year.
There were 4 new ones.
There were 4 new ones coming out, and we were like, oh, what about a black? What about a black? And there was no black, and we were like, man, they got 21 colors now with no black, which is like the staple fountain pen ink color. That's the most popular color. So it was a little weird that there wasn't a black, but here it is. This is the black, and it's going to round out the line.
Exactly. So now there's 24 colors total in a Iroshizuku line, and this is it. As far as I'm told, this is supposed to complete the line.
Yes.
So this is it. So they're coming in tomorrow. We should have more than enough to meet our wait list. If you are on the wait list, I ordered a ton back when I heard about it back in June or May, a long time ago. I placed my order back then because I was like, yeah, these are gonna do well.
Yeah.
So we should have plenty coming.
We don't know anything really about the properties. I mean, it's been selling in Japan, so there are some reviews out there. If you search for some reviews on Fountain Pen Network and Google and random bloggers and stuff,
and you'll
see some reviews.
And you're gonna do your own swab tomorrow. We'll do our best to get it up as quickly as possible.
I'm gonna try and do full reviews of all the colors.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try.
At a minimum, we'll have the swabs.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, we'll have the swabs up tomorrow for sure. I was debating about whether I should do like a blog post, just kind of a quickie thing introducing the 3 colors together, just to kind of say, hey, here they are, or if I should like wait and do full reviews of all 3 colors and post them individually. I know that that's a lot to do, and with the way that things have been running lately, I may not get the time to do that, so we'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, if nothing else, you can just do a quickie overview.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe an overview. See, the thing is, though, if I do a quickie overview, then
people are going to want to see the whole thing.
I'm going to be a lot less likely to prioritize myself to do full reviews. Right. So I don't know. We'll see. It's been tough lately because we've been so busy, and the kids are more demanding these days and stuff. So, but we'll see.
Folks in the chat saying Asagao is their favorite.
Oh, Asagao is
of the Iroshizuku. It's a wonderful blue. You're back into Konpeki.
I like Konpeki. That's more of a sky blue. Or more of like a cerulean color. Asagao is a little darker. It's got a little more purple to it, but Konpeki, I like that color. It's sort of like Sailor Gentle Sky High. It's like Noodler's Blue, Liberty's Elysium. It's right in that range, and that's like one of my favorite colors in the world. Is that cerulean type color? But there you go.
Real quick, we just got in, actually, I don't have them on the website yet because we need to do the swab, but Diamine Jet Black has been reformulated. If you follow FPN, you might have thought, well, didn't they announce that back in June? Yeah, it just took this long to get into the U.S. The distributor had to clear out of the old stock and such.
Well, they announced it and everybody was like, nah.
Well, yeah.
It's like, who cares?
Well, I mean, the old Jet Black was not really Jet Black. That's kind of been a theme with Diamine, with the colors they've reformulated. Like Crimson used to not be that, they changed it. I mean, Blue Black, they reformulated that, and that looks really good. So Jet Black supposedly is going to be more Jet Black.
Well, I swabbed it up today, and I used it. It is...
You did swab it?
I did,
We just haven't scanned it in yet?
Sam was working on that today.
Oh, maybe it's done for all I know.
It may actually be up there. You should check. I think it's up.
Okay. Well, not right now, but I will.
Okay. But anyway, yeah. So I did play around with it. It's got a lot less red to it, like a lot less red and blue. So it's like less of a purplish tinge, a little more of a yellowish tinge. It doesn't have as strong a yellow as some other blacks that I've used. Nothing exactly comes to mind. But at the trade-off is that it's not as... I don't want to say it doesn't shade as much because it's black. It really doesn't shade at all. But it's a little flatter in color. So it looks sort of like Noodler's Polar Black is kind of flat and kind of spreads a little bit more in the paper. That's kind of how it is now.
Yeah, it's swabbed on the site, but I think that's the old swab. For folks who are looking, well, let me maybe Sam
better
changed
check.
it.
Sam might have updated that.
He might have beat me. We left early.
I think he mentioned. Yeah, Ellie had a doctor's appointment today, so we left early.
Let me see. I'll be able to tell just by looking at it.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Yeah, I think that's the new color.
That's the new?
I think. Yeah. Yep, that's the new color.
Okay.
We got the new one up
there. Well, then
there.
I need to put it in stock.
There you go. So we got the new one up on the site. it really doesn't look all that different. In a swab, you know, I thought about doing a blog post, like a side-by-side picture of the two, but, you know, it's not going to seem incredibly drastically different. So there you go.
I just want a little
it's still kind of like kind of black.
We just, you know, FYI, we just want to let you guys know in case you liked it or didn't like it or, you know, wanted to consider it.
Yep. So anyway, moving on. Speaking of Diamine inks,
speaking of Diamine inks, yeah. Okay, I just put everything in stock, so now it's good to go. Diamine's coming out with or actually they already came out in England. It's coming out in the US, a music set. It's basically a boxed set of 10 new exclusive colors. These are not repackaged existing colors. These are brand new colors. Yes. And they're all 30 ml glass bottles, and they're all named after music composers. So you have like Bach and Wagner and Vivaldi and Beethoven and Mozart and, you know, all the good ones. Yeah. It is a limited edition as far as we are aware. We were told that they are making 100 sets worldwide, 50 of which, give or take, are entering the U.S.
This is where information gets a little conflicting because
I was told this back in November by the U.S. distributor, but I've also heard a UK retailer say that they are not limited. So it's possible that they were going to be limited, but they've been so popular that maybe they're continuing it. I was told by the U.S. distributor that they were limited to 100. I have that in writing. So I'm going to confirm with him to see what the real story is, because they may have changed it since November when he told me this, before the set came out.
Right.
So I'll find out.
And if it turns out that it's not limited, please, we're sorry. We're not trying to just sell extra sets or anything like that.
This is the official information we were told.
As of this moment, that's the information that we have.
I have not been told otherwise officially. So it's going to be around $98, which I know is a lot if you do the math, because these are 10 30 ml bottles. But these are, you know, new colors. They're not available separately. We're not going to do samples. We're not going to split it into individual bottles. It's only going to be the set, primarily because, as we're told, it's a limited edition. Now, if that turns out not to be the case and it is completely readily available, then, you know, we'll see where things go. I also suspect that if it does really well, you know, maybe they'll bring some of these into regular colors. I'm just, you know, speculating. But, you know, we don't have our own swabs yet because we haven't seen it in person. We're expecting it to arrive probably late next week. The U.S. distributor was supposed to get it in today, tomorrow. By the time they process it all, get it shipped out to retailers and such, I'm guessing late next week at the earliest. So just want to give you guys a heads up. It is on our site now if you want to sign up for a wait list. If you are in the UK, or, you know, there are some reviews out there already. It was released there in, I want to say, mid-December. So if you go on FPN, I think there's a couple different threads going on about this. So just want to let you guys know that we are getting it. And we'll share more as we know more.
And we got somebody in the chat that asked, will they be available as individual bottles or just as the set?
And I said just the set.
Yeah.
And unless it's not limited and they decide to change the way they're doing it. Maybe it'll just be a set initially, and this, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
That's all we know.
Yeah. This is the first thing that we've seen since we've been carrying Diamine like this, where they've come out with a limited edition thing. We've seen other companies do it. You know, Rower & Klingner's done it. Sailor used to do it before, right before we came on board with them.
This is totally different, just the package set, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to just like a color.
Yeah.
But these are 10 new colors, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm eager to see what they're like.
We will swab them up. We will take a set for ourselves to do that. But,
yeah. But we're not going to be doing samples or anything like that, unless it becomes a regularly available thing.
Exactly. TWSBI 580s.
Yeah.
They're coming soon. I mean, like, for real. They are expected to arrive at the end of this month. Now, there is I guess, like Chinese New Year, the factory closes for a month in February. So if worst case, they don't get them out in time, it'll probably be March. But they are really pushing hard for late January. So we don't know what they look like. We know they're going to be clear.
Well, they're going to be similar to the 540.
They're going to be similar to the 540, but I haven't seen the final pen. I've seen a couple prototypes, and the prototypes weren't clear. So again, I really just don't know what the final product looks like. But it will be clear. It will be $50. just like the 540. The nibs will be interchangeable with the 540 and the 530, because the 540 and 530 interchangeable. So if you have a 540, a nib, you know, you love it, whatever, you will be able to use it on the 580. Or if you have a 540 and you need a new nib for it, then when the 580 nibs come out, you can use it on your 540. They are going to be Jowo nibs. That's what they're currently working on, is fitting them with Jowo nibs. The plans may change, but as of the last I was told, they'll be Jowo.
Yeah, it was kind of up in the air as to whether they could start out with Bach and switch to Jowo. Or what.
Actually, I think what's happening is they have Bach, and right now they're changing them all to Jowo to be consistent, because
I think it depended on like how many they had before.
And the Jowo were ready faster than they thought, or something like that. So ultimately, everything is going to Jowo, but they still have some Bach nibs that they're working through.
Yeah.
So
which the you know, now everybody's confused about Bach and Jowo and so on and so forth. The only issues that TWSBI really had between the Bach and Jowo was on the VAC 700, which is a different nib size than the 540, 580, you know, and then TWSBI Mini, that's a different size.
Yeah, the Mini wasn't having the same issues that the 700. The 700, the tines that were just set too tight, and it was restricting the flow.
Well, and it had to do with the way it was interacting with the feed and stuff like that.
There's a lot more mechanics to it.
Yeah. But anyway, so now the VAC 700s have all changed to Jowo, but I think they're changing over some other things just to kind of be proactive in that nature. So so we're expecting them to arrive at the end of the month. If you're interested, sign up for the wait list, the notification list, I should say. Yeah. And you know, we'll keep you posted. We should know usually. Well, what happens, TWSBI will announce that they have them in stock about the same time they ship our order to us. So it's going to say, we'll know they're ready when TWSBI announces that they have them. That's usually how it goes. Yeah. And then about a week later, we get ours because they're on the other coast. So so we'll know more in a couple weeks. Yeah, I'm excited. Now, you can bet that I'll be doing a review and a video and stuff. Of course. I don't have a 530. I never got one of those. Sam does. Sam does have one. So, but I mean, it's like so few people had 530s because TWSBI was brand new at that point. Yeah. A lot of people have 540s now. So it's definitely going to be worth doing like a 540, 580 comparison video. So that I will almost certainly do. Mini 580, yeah. I could do a Mini and 540 comparison. Actually, that's a good idea. Well, don't do the 540, just do the 580. Well, a lot of people have 540s, that's what I'm saying. So maybe I'll end up lumping them all together in the same things. I don't know, we'll see. But it's definitely worth talking about. What else have we got? Ebonite Konrads are coming back soon in very large quantities. So we'll be able to meet everyone's demand. These are the Ripple Konrads, as well as we'll get more modeled, I'm sure, too. Yeah. So the Rebellion Red that we had a very limited amount of and sold out quickly, that we're waiting on more of, those should come, I'm guessing, late next week. It might be the week after. You know, we're just waiting on, you know, various shipments to go where they need to go. But they're coming in good quantity, so it won't be like this, sell out in 15 minutes thing. It should be a regular, ongoing, available product. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, it's... based on the numbers I was told, I'm pretty confident about that. Yeah. And the machining on these Ripple Konrads, I mean, I can show you some pictures here. These are... I can answer what's the skinny, why do Ebonites fetch a premium? I think you can explain this better than I can. The cost of the material. The material is... more expensive to manufacture, and especially these are not vintage stock. These Ripple ones, these are ones that Nathan developed. And if you go out and try and find a vintage Ripple Ebonite pen, you're going to spend, you know, multiple hundreds, probably upwards of $1,000 to get some, you know, like some of the classic like Waterman Ripple pens. They're incredibly expensive because they're very rare. Apparently they're hard to make and so on. But, you know, Nathan has once again just kind of done the incredible and developed these pens. And he told me that he's doing more machine work and a little less hand work to make these pens. Not he personally, but the ones who are making the pens. Mm-hmm. So actually the fit and finish on these pens versus even the modeled Ebonite pens is a little tighter. And I kind of talk about that in the video that I did of the Ripple Ebonite Konrads back in late December. So, you know, that's why you fetch a premium, is because it's rare, it's hard to find, especially this ripple stuff, unless you've done like Nathan and developed your own Ebonite.
Which is very difficult because he struggled to find people who know what they're talking about anymore, because it's been many years since these were regularly produced.
Exactly.
So just finding people who, as he says, are still alive, who know anything about it was very challenging.
Right.
So it's a pretty remarkable feat. And I would encourage folks to watch Brian's video on these too. Yeah,
definitely. And, Texas BSA in the chat here said, I thought that these were cheaper a while back. Well, that was...
yeah, and I answered that in the chat. I think we're talking about the Arometric eyedropper pen that was like $24.
But that was an Ebonite, but it was a modeled Ebonite. It was not this ripple material.
Well, the modeled of these are the same price as the ripple.
Right.
They're talking about the Arometric eyedropper, which is a totally different mechanism than the piston with the flex pen and all that sort of stuff.
Well, and those Arometric eyedroppers were never, they were available in like a dozen as a flex pen, but they were a standard nib pen. They weren't flex pens.
Yeah, I'm just saying like a piston mechanism is going to be more expensive than something that just,
Oh yeah, of course. And these have an ink These have an ink window. Those ones did not.
Exactly.
So these are larger. These are larger pens. Actually, I should pull out some of those old pens. I think I have one or two of them laying around.
I know Drew does.
Yeah.
I've seen one in his office.
Yeah.
Any idea if there'll be new ripple colors in the future? Yes. There are plans for up to 8 or 10. I mean, those are plans. I don't know when. I expect this year, though, for sure. I just don't know whether it'll be like a month or like 6 months from now. But there are definitely plans for more. I don't know what they are. I haven't seen them, but that's the word on the street.
And that's very exciting.
From the man himself.
And if you're not familiar with Ebonite, I talk about this, a little bit in the video, which if you're interested in the Ripple Ebonite, I recommend you go look at my video on YouTube about it. But Ebonite is a material that was... basically, it was an early plastic, if you will. It's not plastic, it's actually rubber, but, it was what they were trying to create, a sort of plastic type material. And so
celluloid someone said celluloid kind of replaced Ebonite.
Right, exactly. But Ebonite was used a lot in pens and pipe stems and other various things like that. But they have the key component to them that makes them desirable for pen usage specifically is that the material itself has kind of a specific feel. It definitely has a distinct smell.
Kind of rubber.
But it's got a feel to it, and the rubber is kind of absorbent. So when you're writing with it for a long period of time, it'll kind of absorb the oils in your hand and keep it gives you less hand fatigue because you're not slipping the pen in your hand. So it gives you it's not that the texture is any different, but it gives you because it wicks away the oils in your hand, it gives you a better grip while you write.
Yeah.
So, and those who like Ebonite know what I'm talking about. It's the kind of thing like once you use it for a while, then you're kind of like, oh, I get it.
Which by the way, we do have some Ebonite Premier limited editions available still.
We do, yeah.
Just a couple.
Yeah, we do. We did those last year with Brian Gray.
Yeah.
As a red, it's a red and black.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Christmassy theme. Yeah.
There's a off-topic question. Anyone from Goulet coming to the Philly Pen Show? Not this year.
No, we've been asked that several times. We don't do a lot of shows. The only show that we do is the DC show, and we don't do that show.
We attend.
We go to it for like an afternoon. We've still got 2 kids in diapers and a business that's,
still very much needs
still
us.
Very demanding. A business that's in its infancy as well. So,
yeah. We have 3 children.
we almost never get away, period, let alone travel by plane anywhere. Or
it would be
like
nice, Well, I could see in
it's not
I don't know when, but I could see attending more shows in the future. Traveling and attending. I just this year I think it's just still not going to happen with our young kids. So.
Yeah, we can't even really wrap our head around it yet. But
yeah, so unfortunately no. But there will be a lot of other great vendors there that you can say hi to for us.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was it with.
That's it with Noodler stuff, right?
Yeah.
There is a new Noodler's ink that's coming out.
There is. Nathan did a video on that as well. I can't remember the name. It's not in English.
Yeah. It's a Chinese name.
It's a red ink that has this ridiculous red fluorescence under
it's
UV.
crazy.
He said he's never been able to achieve that before, and he was stupid excited about it that he was able to produce that. He can't think of any other ink that glows red under UV light.
I can't think of one. I mean, basically, it's like a terracotta type color on paper, but then when you flip on the UV light, the thing glows like some kind of alien blood.
It's not bulletproof or any like special properties like that. But I guess the special property would be the fluorescence. But as far as, without the UV light in the dark, it's that sort of thing. Why do we put a lot of the Noodler's ink on the bottom shelf? So for those who aren't familiar, the bottom shelf is where we put cosmetically damaged items at a discount. Stuff happens in shipping, notebooks get dinged up, or in this case, bottles break in shipment and the ink gets on the labels of many other bottles in the same shipment. So the ink is sealed, it's perfectly good inside, but there's ink on the label. In some cases, the box is ruined, so we sell it without the box. Sometimes the box is just crunched and we don't feel comfortable selling it brand new. So we had, unfortunately, a couple large breakages recently that demolished many ink labels and boxes. So obviously we're working with, the shipping providers to fix the issues. But yeah, I loaded them all up there this week. So there were like several dozen colors.
Well, and we've also been really busy, so we've kind of waited longer.
We've been stocking them up for a while.
We've been waiting longer than usual.
No, we're not doing away with any. Those are normal inks. They just have ink on the label or are missing boxes. Those are not discontinued by any means. Bottom shelf is not the same as like closeout and that sort of thing.
Right.
Bottom shelf is just for the cosmetic imperfections. Maybe it's a pen that was returned that is, has a scratch on it or something, so. And
the reason we do that is because, otherwise we would either have to scrap it or return it to our distributor or something.
I mean, we can use it for samples to an extent, but.
Yeah, but really it's just, it's still a perfectly usable item. So we just say, hey, look, somebody will really appreciate being able to use this and get a discount, and it's less hassle for everybody up our chain.
And the ones we sell, like the ink itself didn't spill; it just another bottle spilled onto it.
Right.
And I just don't feel comfortable selling, selling it as new if it's imperfect. So I encourage you guys to go check it out. You can get some good deals. Again, if you don't care about the label. And if you don't care that you're missing a box or something like that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the product, you click on it, we do describe what the damage is. So if it's a notebook, if it's a scratch on the cover, or if it's a crunched corner, or, I have like a pen case on there that just had like a little scratch in it, which honestly, I probably wouldn't be bothered by, but again, not comfortable selling.
We're probably pickier than most people.
We're really picky. I've heard some people say they bought bottom shelf stuff and they like can't find the damage on it. So
yeah.
I mean, but it's part of our standards.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone's asking when the DC show is. It's in August.
Mid-August.
It's usually the second week. It's like a Thursday to a Sunday. It's usually like around our anniversary, which is the 12th. So yeah, it always works out.
We usually end up making it an anniversary trip.
Yeah.
We're just kind of like, okay, we got to work on our anniversary.
Well, we get babysitting, and we get to.
Well, it's in DC too, so we can go in Tyson's and hang out and go to a nice restaurant and stuff. So it's fun. It's fun.
Okay, we got some new products coming out soon.
Yeah, we do have a couple of people asking about Brian Gray stuff. Maybe we can get to that in a little bit.
Oh, about Ebonite, talking about Ebonite and celluloid.
Well, Ebonite, celluloid, and acrylic. Brian has talked about that, written some stuff about it somewhere. Maybe I can try and find a link to it. But also, there's been a lot of buzz about the new pen that he announced yesterday. His pneumatic filler, Beaumont.
Resurrecting dead
technology. He'd actually told me about that like months ago when he was in the prototyping phase of coming out with that.
I think at DC he was telling us about that.
Yeah, and then he like had like a hidden video and stuff that I got to see, and it was like he showed me that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, yeah, you gotta come out with that, because he was having some some fun prototyping that, and I was like, oh yeah,
he's been doing well with it, so we hear. So.
Oh yeah, well that's cool. I mean, it's great to see somebody who's trying to innovate and come up with new stuff. Especially made in America, and our good friend Brian Gray. He's great, and we love supporting him. It's not anything that we can sell. It's only sold directly through him and his signature line.
We love supporting him.
But even still, it's cool, and he makes great stuff. So.
Someone's off topic, but I loved the video of the day at the office with your kids. I've never squealed and smiled so much over a video before.
Oh, I'm glad you like that.
Thank you. That's pretty typical of what they're like. They have their moments and their tantrums, but when they're cute and loving on each other, it's and just running around being all silly.
They seem to get really amped up like around 4 o'clock. They start to get a little stir crazy from being inside all day, and they start to run around in circles and randomly scream and say nonsensical things. But it's a lot of fun.
Are we, so going back off off topic again. Are you guys interested in the return of Well Eversharp as a potential product line?
I wasn't aware that it was returning.
We'll have to look into that. I don't really know anything about it at all.
Interesting. Yeah.
We'll look.
We'll look into that.
Gogi power. Gogi, gogi, gogi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man.
Apparently, what does that mean in Korean? I think it means meat. Gogi, like what Joseph was repeating in that video. It means meat in Korean.
So someone said about the brand, they announced on FPN they're coming back and debuting at the LA Pen Show. When is the LA Pen Show?
That's usually in January, isn't it?
I don't know when that is. I thought it's a little later.
Is
February?
It?
I don't know.
I don't know. We're not that hip on show dates.
Off topic, I have a Cross fountain pen and I really like it. I realize you guys don't sell any Cross pens. Why not? No one's really asked us about them. I actually had a Cross sales rep contact us and ask if we were interested. And at the time, I was like, I think we had a lot of other new brands or something going on at the time. And I was like, to be honest, like my customers really haven't been asking for it.
Well,
they're kind of,
without getting too much into it,
I'm not going to say common.
They're ubiquitous.
Yeah, you can find them too many places.
You can get them at a lot of different places.
Especially like big office supply stores, and it's kind of hard to compete with them sometimes.
Yeah, the more places it's available, the less a boutique seller like us is really able to do well with it, because the bigger places, they don't really care about what the product is. They just cut the price and try to move as many as they can, and it makes it hard for somebody like us to really compete with that. So, and in addition to that, Cross pens tend to be metal, and they tend to be heavy and tend to be slick. So there are fountain pen people who like that.
Oh yeah.
But most fountain pen people don't like most of those qualities. So for the heavy duty writers, which are a lot of the ones who we have as a customer base and fan base, that type of pen is not as desirable.
I think Cross's marketing strategy is more towards a corporate crowd. I don't think the fountain pens are a primary focus, whereas like a brand like, I don't know, Pilot or Lamy, like there are other brands or like Platinum for that matter, their focus is on fountain pens, and the rollerball and ballpoint and pencils are secondary. Cross, I don't necessarily see that way, and I think we do best with people who just share our love of fountain pens. I'm not saying they don't, no one's really asked us about them, so we'll just keep it on the back burner.
Yeah. Usually I've
if
heard
you
of some
guys have
people
experiences with them, we would love for you to share them with us, just to help educate us.
Yeah, definitely.
LA Pen Show is February 14th through 17th for all who are wondering. So
Valentine's
weekend. Go get some pens. Woo
get some loving at the pen show.
Anyway.
What else we got?
Okay, so new products. There's a bunch. The Xclair catalog it just came out to retailers. It should be posted publicly soon. There's not a lot of new stuff going on this year. But the good news is whereas in past years they would bring out the catalog and it would take 4 to 6 to 8, 9
to 10
ever
to a year.
months for the products to come in this case, 90% of them, we're told, are available now. So we've already placed our order and we're just waiting for them to arrive. I believe some of them are coming on Friday. So I have a lot of work to do to get everything ready online. I got some of them up. One of them is the Clairefontaine 1951 collection. Now this is referencing back to their basically their original notebook covers.
Yeah.
They've kind of brought them back. They have that vintage retro look. We're going to pop up a little picture here so you can see. They're going to come in different colors and different sizes. We will have these are like the A5 size. So they're like 5 3/4 by 8 1/4, something like that. Side staple bound, $4 a piece. So pretty good price. They're all lined, and you get to choose the color, so that's one nice thing. Kind of like the basic series, you get to purchase it by the color, as opposed to the classic that kind of come assorted. So there's this size, and then there's also a pocket size that's like a 3.5 by 5.5, and that'll come assorted. There's also going to be some top wire bound, and I think another style as well. I don't know that they're available just yet, but they're coming. Here's a close-up so you guys can see of what the covers look like. So they kind of have a vintage feel. I don't think they're glossy, but I haven't seen it in person yet. We'll know for sure on Friday when they come in. I believe these are coming on Friday.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I ordered them. They gave us our tracking, so assuming they're in our shipment, they're coming on Friday. So we're excited. It's, you know, another variation of Clairefontaine, the same great interior paper, but, you know, just a little vintage look if you're into that sort of thing.
Definitely.
Good price, too. You know, $4. It's actually a little bit cheaper than the basic staple-bound Duo if you split up the 2-pack. So that's coming in. There's also Exacompta index cards in the 3x5 size. We currently carry them in the 4x6. They weren't available any smaller until now. So they'll be 3x5. They come in just graph in like an assorted pastel. So you get like blue, yellow, pink, and green. These are 100 gram? I want to say 100 gram. I'm going off
thicker than that, maybe. 100 grams, not that thick.
No, maybe it's
I think they're
more.
210.
210?
I think so.
Oh, sorry. Going back to the Clairefontaine, how many pages, what type of paper? They will have 48 sheets, so that's 96 pages. So 48 sheets, and they are lined white 90-gram paper. So the same notebook paper that you'll find in the regular classic Clairefontaines, or the basics for that matter. I don't know the line ruling yet. I don't know about a margin. We'll have to see when they come in.
Yeah, we'll try to take interior shots and stuff to cover all those details.
Oh, definitely. I'm guessing 8mm based on similar sizes that they carry, but again, won't know till we get them in.
Going back to the Exacompta index cards, you know, I remember I've been asking on the blog for the last several years about, you know, what are good index cards. And
fountain pen friendly
index cards, and I get asked that all the time, and frankly, I just haven't ever had a good answer. So I don't really know what else is out there, but, you know, these I have high hopes for because these have always been good, but they've just never been small enough to
4x6 is good,
sizes.
But some people like, you know, the 3x5 or whatever they are.
So we're excited about this.
Then there's some premium Rhodia gift boxes. So you guys are familiar with the top staple bound Rhodia pads, and then they also make pad holders. Well, now, and I'm having trouble speaking. This is a gift set. It comes with a pad holder and a premium R by Rhodia tablet inside. So this is the one with the ivory 90-gram paper. That comes in blank or lined, orange or black. So this is a box set of a pad holder, a premium pad, and a pencil. All in a nice little clear presentation box.
Yeah, and I love the premium paper. Oh my gosh, it's just awesome.
It's basically the Rhodia web notebook, the Webby, in a tablet format.
Or if you're familiar
with a perforated, you know, tablet.
Or if you're familiar with Clairefontaine Triomphe, it's like that.
It's like an ivory Triomphe.
Ivory, yeah.
So this will be in black and orange, blank and lined in the number 16 size. So we're excited about that. I don't have all these listed on the site yet, but they're coming. A couple other things we don't have pictures of, but Jeroboam scented supple wax. I don't think this is coming this week. It'll be a little bit later in the winter, spring. There's like a blue with lavender scent and a rose with rose scent. So I don't know how strong they smell. I don't know if it lasts. I don't know, but I'm excited. I mean, sealing wax is always cool. It's supple, you know, just like the stuff we carry.
Yeah, so it'll hold up in the mail system, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, the scent may just be for you while you're doing it, but hey, it just makes it more fun, make you want to do it more.
Yeah, I doubt the scent would last. The scent is going to hold
especially
up.
if you're putting it in the mail system.
Yeah, but, you know, who knows?
I
don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
We're also, in the past, I think we talked about this, the Rhodia Rama web notebooks that are the 15 colors. Previously, we could only buy them in a set of 15, which has made it really hard for us to keep them in stock because some colors sell better than others, and we don't want to be overstocked and less popular. Xclair has changed how they do that. Now we can buy them by color. So as of, hopefully, Friday, we should have those regularly available.
And that's plentiful. Really exciting. We really fought for that. And
there were a couple small price changes that went into effect January 1st for Xclair. Actually, there were a couple things. Waterman and Parker inks went up by like a quarter. But the Jeroboam 100 mil went up. No, they went down or up. I don't know.
They went down.
It changed by $1. The 1670 ink went up to $24. It was $22, and the year before it was like $20, so now it's $24. So that's for the Blue Ocean, the Rouge Hematite. So I'm sorry, it's just the new cost.
Yeah.
There were some that went down, though. The Rhodia side wire bounds, which we carry almost a full line of, those went down in price. So they used to be $10, now they're $8. So pretty awesome deal. I mean, for the oversized A4, you know, those are pretty good. They're actually a lot cheaper than a lot of comparable ones out there. So, you know, passing the savings forward. We
did have somebody asking, have we ever considered the Jeroboam gold and silver stamp pads for the wax seals?
We used to carry them, and people weren't really that into them. But
they said they didn't work all that well.
Yeah.
That was kind of the consensus I got, was that they didn't work that great.
I mean, they're good in theory, but we could always special order them.
They're kind of expensive too, though.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So, read someplace on FPN that Rhodia and Clairefontaine are the same paper, but I noticed Rhodia comes in different weights, so what's the difference? You actually have an old video on that, but that was way before the premiums came out. Basically, they're owned by the same parent company. You know, they kind of have different mills that they use for producing the paper. But Clairefontaine is on 90-gram, super smooth white paper. It's like glossy smooth.
Right.
Rhodia, for the most part, is 80 grams, so a little less in weight. It's still white. And then there are some variations of Rhodia that are 90 gram. These are actually Clairefontaine making the paper for Rhodia. That's where it gets a little confusing. So basically, Rhodia 80 gram, Clairefontaine 90 gram. So the Rhodia web notebooks and those premium tablets I was talking about, those are the 90 gram with the ivory paper. And Clairefontaine makes that for Rhodia. So not confusing at all.
Yeah.
Same parent company.
Yep.
All very fountain pen friendly,
great paper,
of course.
Though. I mean, really.
I would say the Rhodia has, to say it has a little bit more tooth than Clairefontaine is kind of misleading because it's still so smooth.
Yeah.
But between the two, Clairefontaine
if you really want to get picky with it, there is a difference.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
Yeah. I mean, but
it's
like,
subtle, but
the weight-wise, like in bleed through, it's really not noticeable.
No.
Rhodia's still very high quality.
I use 80-gram Rhodia dot pads all the time, and I love them to death.
There's a couple other new things in the works. We have new pen colors for existing brands coming out, some of which we can't talk about yet officially, but you'll know when we know, and some of them have already been spoiled on FPN, so I can neither confirm nor deny what has been said there. Yep. I will let you know when we're allowed to talk about it. But there are some new things coming very soon, probably next month, and then probably into April. There's a lot of new things. There's so many things I'm just not allowed to talk about, so I'm just teasing you for no reason here.
Yep.
We have some new brands we're working on too, which we're not going to tell you about until they come.
Yep.
Tease, tease, tease.
Moving on.
All right. So the last topic we had was 2013 stuff.
Yes.
So I've been a lot more active on Reddit now. I kind of discovered it when a lot of people started saying their order comments. I heard about you through Reddit. I'm like, what is this? I got to figure out what this is. So there's like a fountain pen subreddit. So I've been all about that lately. I've spent a lot of time on there. Great group of people. A lot
of the drawings that Drew does shows up there.
Yeah. It's funny
how
that
He's very busy
works.
with drawings these days. It originally started, well, actually, one of the first drawings that we saw posted was actually on FPN. But I think it was somebody from Reddit that requested the drawing. It was somebody that requested like a dinosaur. Yeah, I think it was just a dinosaur. But that was like a thing, was requesting a dinosaur to be drawn from whatever company you were ordering from. That was like a Reddit thing.
Oh. And
that was back before we even knew really much about Reddit.
Right. It was like a big trend thing. So we did it, and then it just grew into this whole big thing.
And then people would just start to ask for a drawing. And Drew loves superheroes and stuff like that. So
everything turns into
he does a lot of comic book characters and
Reddit is
video game characters.
Reddit is a different social media platform. It's basically like a robust message board that you can comment on and vote on people's comments, and it kind of ranks it by popularity and most liked and stuff. So it's kind of cool because it's a lot more interactive, and you have like the nested comments and such. Yeah, it's kind of like a forum, kind of like a message board. There's sub groups. So like there's a subreddit, a subforum for fountain pens. So you just go to that page and everything's about fountain pens. So it's really neat. You can post pictures, you can post links, you can just have conversations. It's really interactive. So it's neat.
I would be really
I've spent
curious.
a lot of time on there lately.
I would be really curious to see if you took some of the stuff on FPN and just put it over on Reddit, what kind of comments would get liked and disliked.
I've seen that happen.
Really?
I've seen the same conversation going on at the same time.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And I can tell like some of the usernames like who are the same people. It's really interesting.
Okay, yeah.
I'm kind of, putting all the things together.
It's actually kind of surprising. Like
it says it's also a massive time sink if you're susceptible to pictures of cats. There's a lot of subforums on Reddit, and it's a deep, dark rabbit hole. But there's a great one for fountain pens, so I encourage you guys to check it out if you want.
Yeah.
So anyway, not too long ago, I posted a question on Facebook as well as Reddit about basically we're trying to figure out what we want to do with GPC for 2013. We're continuing to grow. We actually rented the space next door to what we're going to start renting the space next door to us so we can keep expanding. Tear down some walls and build some doors and stuff.
Yep.
Hiring some more people. We just hired some. We're going to hire some more. So we're continuing to grow, but what we need to do is figure out what that looks like. So we can't just, we've always tried to grow organically. We don't just willy-nilly carry anything. And
right.
We want to carry stuff that we're passionate about. We want to carry stuff that you're passionate about. And then not just carrying stuff, but doing cool things on our website or on the blog.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to emphasize is like for the last several years, we've been, we started in our dining room. So, we carry a brand, and it was like a major accomplishment for us to get a new brand. Like that was an aggressive thing we pursued. Now we're at the point where we have a really good offering, and we'll continually add new things and clear out things that don't sell as well, but that's no longer like the driving force behind everything that we do. And we have a lot of great tools that we've developed that are already in place. And so more so than just developing whole new tools, we're tweaking the ones we have and trying to make them better. So the important thing to distinguish here is that, we're pursuing growth a little differently than we have before. And we really just want to tweak and hone.
We want to hone our foundation.
Build upon what we've already been doing.
And I know some people have expressed concern of us like burning out and stuff. And that's exactly why we're hiring more people. Is to help take things off our plate, to give us a better work-life balance. This holiday season was, I'm not going to say brutal, because that sounds really bad. We were very blessed.
Brutal in a good way?
We were very blessed, and it kept us very busy. And we just, we need more help so that we have more time for, things outside of work, which, of course, we love. We love our jobs. That's why we work so hard, because it doesn't feel like work. Yeah. Sometimes it really does.
Well, the challenge that we have is that we have such what I call a high-touch experience with Goulet. Is like, we do handwritten notes, we answer personal emails, we take phone calls, we do
put candy in
fountain
your orders.
pen advice, we'll, not tune,
just
but we'll check your pens if you ask us to. We'll do drawings on invoices.
The attention we give to packing and
everything,
the whole thing,
and all that just takes a lot of time and a lot of care.
And those are
from everybody
things
that works for us.
I don't want to change or compromise. So as we grow, we just need more people to keep replicating these things. So that's kind of why we're getting the space next door. We have more room to have more people, more room for storage of boxes and things like that.
Most companies, when they start out as a mom and pop, they have a very high touch experience and very personal experience, and as they grow, it's really hard for them to keep on to that, and then they just become more or less a faceless entity as they get bigger.
It's easy to become detached, but
we're really trying to fight that, and we're trying to maintain that small personal feel as we get a little bit bigger. So that's what we're aggressively pursuing.
So everything that we're doing is with work-life balance in mind, and getting help so that we don't carry the burden so much ourselves. So I don't want anyone to think that growth means burnout. Growth for us means expanding the team, if you will.
Right.
And those who say you want to work for us, if you live in Richmond, you
gotta be locally here.
We'll certainly take your application, but we don't have any work from home type, work remote jobs at the moment.
Yes.
But unless you're like a web developer, then maybe we'll talk.
But, and that's an interesting point here from Anime Tears 4. Watching your videos on YouTube up to now amazes me how successful your small business has become and is an inspiration. It really is kind of funny because if you watch our videos...
Didn't someone make a comment? It's like, I love your videos, they're helpful, but I really don't like seeing your dirty laundry in the background. I'm
it's like, okay, that was 2 years ago.
That was the only place we had in the house to shoot a video, and I'm sorry.
You don't understand what it was like back then. Like, oh my gosh, when we had 5 people working in our garage.
Using our bathroom
downstairs, and Rachel was watching Joseph in our living room as we were, it's like... Yeah. And the only place I could shoot a video was in our bedroom.
We didn't have an office. Our office was our bedroom. We had literally stuff on our, like the the computer, the photo booth was on our dresser, you know, and that's just what it was. So
those were the good old days.
I mean, and I love it because it made us who we are and everything like that. It's really funny because there's a lot that we look back and like, wow, we did things that way. What were we thinking? But
and seeing all the bookcases of notebooks in the dining room. That's how we started out. It was 3 bookcases that were partially filled,
which made him really jealous.
Yeah. Hey, well, that's what it was like back then.
Yeah.
Things are a little bigger now.
Yeah.
A
little bit. So anyway, so I posed a question out there to ask. Everything we do for you guys. So like we carry the brands you want us to carry. We develop tools to help you shop and find the products you love. Yes. The reviews we do on our blog, they're for your benefit. So, you know, I basically posed a question. What do you guys want to see us do? What should be the next thing? What are we not currently doing that we should do? What should we refine? So we just got actually, I'm not going to say bombarded, because again, that sounds bad.
We need to pick more positive words here.
No, it's a really good thing. We got, I was going to say overwhelmed, but that's not a good word either. We got blessed with many suggestions. And a lot were really good and things that some of them we had already planned on. Some of them we know we want to do, but like we just don't have the resources to do now. But we have a plan for where we're going to get. And
are you planning to actually cover any of these? Because we're at an hour already here. We could do a whole other right time just on this stuff.
Okay. So basically, I kind of compiled a list of all the suggestions that were made. And I'm just going to, run through them real quick and just tell you what we're kind of considering and what we're not?
Well, we can go into these more detail next week, I guess. I don't want to be here till 11 o'clock
Do you guys even care? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure people care. I'm pretty sure people want to hear what we're going to do in 2013.
Yeah.
And really, I want to get people's feedback and try and get some ideas and stuff. That's a lot of why I wanted to do it.
Question in chat. Website. Can you integrate the blog, the gallery, and the shop, or open a new tab if clicked? That's on my radar. Better integration. We have the blog. We have the Fountain of Knowledge, which I do my best to take the content from the blog and put it in the Fountain of Knowledge. We have the products themselves, which usually have a video integrated. They have reviews, descriptions. And then we have like the Goulet gallery, which has images, which usually are also on the... There's a lot of stuff in a lot of different places. So we're trying to figure out how to better sync it all up.
Yeah, we're working on that. That's one of the things we're working on in 2013 is a more seamless package.
Yeah, and some of it's going to be subject to the limitations of our various software and hosting and things like that. But it's on our radar. Yeah. Absolutely. Okay.
So do you want to just run through this list?
I'm just going to run down the list, so we'll just give you like a yes, maybe, long-term sort of, just let you know what we're working on.
Okay.
Yeah? No?
I feel like this is just
too much
cheating everybody here by not really talking about it.
Well, you know what I want to do is if we say something that you are interested in, let us know because your validation will, or you
will go through too fast, then the chat's not going to.
No, not the chat. I want like emails and stuff.
Okay.
I want validation that these are things we should be working on.
Okay.
So if you hear something that you're interested in...
Well, I am going to be posting this on the blog tomorrow.
Of course.
In the
Say it already. Sorry, it's like 20 things.
We'll be like, okay.
All right. So they're not in any order. I just wrote down what other people said. So handwriting practice books. Some people have said, I'm into fountain pens, but it's not making my handwriting better. I need some help.
That's one of the things in general, we're going to look to do more education on handwriting.
They're taking cursive out of schools. Someone's got to step up and help educate.
We're thinking about how we might be able to work on that.
We're not experts ourselves.
Well, it's going to be a learning experience for us as well. But
I got to find some books that I can buy wholesale and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So,
or even if we don't sell the books, if we can just point people to books.
Right.
We're not going to make a lot of money on books. I'm just thinking like... if there's good resources for people because the schools aren't teaching it. So let's just get the information.
Even if not books, just like guides and, different fonts or scripts.
If you know of good resources, good books that are out there, please let us know because we don't really know.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on.
Okay. More writing samples of inks. So we have the swabs, but actually seeing what it looks like with pens. And I say yes, but that's going to be a long-term project.
That's a lot of work.
Someone said we should have a more robust review system of products on our site. So like if you're reviewing an ink that you can rate like the shading and the flow and things like that. Mm-hmm. I love the idea, but I know we don't have the functionality right now. I'm looking towards that long term. So I'm just running through these now. Sharing reviews across similar products. So right now, everything is specific to the SKU. So if you review a blue Safari, that review isn't going to come up on the red Safari when really that review could be relevant. Or if you're looking at different nib sizes or colors, I have an idea for how I'm finally going to be able to share that. We have to do it on our end. You guys submit it like for a sample, and I can then copy it to the bottle, that sort of thing. So I have a plan for that. So our total reviews on our site will be much more robust.
Yep.
Excel skills right there. Okay, comparative ink reviews. So taking similar colors and comparing properties. So say you want to compare, I don't know, like Caran d'Ache Caribbean Sea versus, you know, some other Mediterranean turquoise, whatever, you know, a similar color, compare the properties as opposed to a single review of one color. So kind of thinking of more comparative comparison reviews as opposed to singular ink reviews.
That's one of those really good ideas that's hard to execute kind of things. So I can't promise that. That's it. I had intentions of doing a lot more ink reviews in 2012 than I actually did, but let alone trying to do full ink reviews of multiple inks and then comparing them. That's a tremendous amount of work. And anyone who's ever blogged or done any reviews can tell you that's a tremendous amount of work. So no promises.
Black inks is tough because if you're just showing swabs, it's like, what's the difference? Like black looks pretty similar to me.
Honestly, sometimes there's not that much difference.
Well, it'd still be good to know. You know, this is waterproof, this is not, you know.
I will try to do my best.
Okay. More stationery. So like correspondence cards, sets like that. So like a, you know, a card and envelope sort of thing. We have a couple. We have Crown Mill and Lalo and Triumph, but I want to get into some more. So this is yes, I definitely am interested in this. I'm already sourcing some out. We have some we use personally. I'm like, why don't we just sell them? So like Crown Mill makes some that are like white with like a royal blue ribbon or border.
Some of like the decollage stuff is really cool.
Yeah, so stuff like that. So I'm looking specifically at G. Lalo. I'm looking at Crown Mill. Clairefontaine has a couple, but you know, not too many. Of course, it'll be fountain pen friendly. That's a given.
Oh yeah.
And then we may look into some other brands like Crane. I don't know. I haven't actually contacted them yet.
That's one on my radar. I don't know how. I've reached out to them before and got no response. But
so fountain pen friendly note cards. So it seems a lot of people saying yes.
In general, yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Someone on Reddit had the idea for an RGB slider color picker. So basically, like, you know, you put in like the hex code, the RGB code, and it shows you inks that are similar to that color. So someone suggested that, and I was like, oh man, that sounds awesome, but like, I don't know how we do it.
Like, how would you even do that code? But then,
and then somebody else on Reddit,
somebody did it.
They're like, I just dabbled around with this here. And this was like in the last couple days. So they actually put together a little tool, and I need to thank them for it and figure out how to integrate it to our site, because I think it's, you know, I just have to figure it out. But it's awesome. I mean, it's got some quirks. It's not entirely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, but then again,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, stuff to better help you choose among all the 600 some inks we have. So go to Reddit, check it out.
And that kind of got our wheels turning about other things that we can do, you know, related to that.
Selection,
so
helper
we'll be working on that kind of stuff.
Someone said more desk accessories. So like going along the lines of like blotters and like accessories. To which I say, help us out. What exactly do you want?
Yeah, that's really
Give
broad.
us some examples or some specific products or brands, because it's just so like I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
And no, we're not overstressing. We're just throwing out all the ideas. This is a long-term vision here.
No, this is like fun stuff actually.
And this is and we wouldn't do all these like next week. This is like our plan for the year. So
and probably like 3 of these things will get done, but.
Blotters and paper. So we have like some now, but more. And a lot of people said more sealing wax stuff. So more like symbols instead of the letters, or you know, different wax and stuff. Pen rests, and that's another example. So stuff like that. Someone said, and this is kind of that long-term thing, like a pen connoisseur, an ink connoisseur. Like you answer questions and we show you your ideal product. So we have like some filters and stuff on our site now. So if you like do shop all fountain pens, you can see, I want a piston pen that's clear, you know, and we'll show you that sort of thing. But a much more interactive tool. We have a vision for what that would be, but it's just so much work. So that's long term. Calligraphy supplies. We tried. There just wasn't a lot of demand, so I'm not crazy about diving into this because
it's just a whole pens and stuff like that.
It's kind of similar, but it's really a whole different rabbit hole. So I'm kind of putting that on the back burner.
Yeah.
Pencils, maybe. I don't know. You tell us. Do you guys
want
want
pencils?
Some people
asking about pencils, especially California Republic. We've had a lot of people ask about that brand. we're open to it. You know, TWSBI's got a decent mechanical pencil.
I'm talking to TWSBI about their ballpoint and their pencil sets. They said we could carry them if we want. I just need to learn more about them.
Yeah.
So pencils, you know, we're along that line, ballpoints, roller balls, you know, writing instruments in general. So if that interests you, let us know. But we've
been thinking about it for a long time, but haven't pulled the trigger.
Such a fountain pen crowd. It'd be such a diversion. So I don't know.
There's so much we haven't yet achieved with fountain pen stuff that it's hard for me to really want to move in the pencil
I have more plans for fountain pens I want to carry. More pen cases. So we have Aston Leather, which, by the way, if you're interested in the case 10 and 20 cognacs, we finally got them in stock after 8 months of being out of them due to manufacturing issues. So we have plenty of those. But anyway, so besides the Aston Leather, we don't really have any. So I think it's a great idea.
Well, there's others out there, but they're so expensive. Well, they're like twice the price of Aston.
Well, there's other leather ones out there, and they are more expensive.
Right.
But there are non-leather ones too. So I would love some suggestions and ideas because I don't know where to start. There's other websites, you know, Jet Pens and other folks who have a lot of things, but I don't know what you guys want. And I just, you know, I need to know what to pursue. So if you have specific ideas of pen cases, you know, whether it's just like a single slip, whether it's like a roll, whether it's like a bag that you carry 20 in, like, or whether it's like a
bag.
I had someone ask for that.
A bag.
Yeah, like not like a purse, but like a man bag.
Oh, I thought you meant like a bag where you throw 20 pens in it and carry it.
I mean, like,
I was like, pretty much any bag would do, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Portable inkwells. That's a really good idea too. Like we sell our empty ink bottles. They're basically just left over from samples, but like some actual legit. Well, we have the TWSBI ones, of course, too. So, yeah, a briefcase for pens. That's a better description.
Right.
Okay, so pen cases.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea. It complements what we have. I just don't know where to start. So help us out. More paper reviews on the blog. When we started out, we did a ton of paper. Well, we didn't carry pens, and ink was foreign to us, so we just did a lot of paper, but we haven't really done paper reviews in a while. We've carried a lot of new paper brands. We've Banded Apple and Field Notes and Crown Mill and Stillman and Burn. I think you did a Stillman and Burn video.
I did Stillman and Burn.
Okay, you did do that.
Very comprehensive Stillman and Burn. I did Leuchtturm.
That's true. Okay, so we have done some. But
the paper,
more reviews and more comparison.
Well, here's the thing: is the paper I tend to do more brand-wide reviews because usually the paper is not vastly different between one product within a brand and another.
No.
So it's like once I do a Rhodia review, it's kind of like, well, what's the difference between number 16 and number 18?
No, I don't think it's so much that. I think it's more comparisons. How does the Crown Mill Classic Laid compare to the Gilalo Verge de France? They're both like kind of a laid finish. And, you know, some of these papers are really expensive. I think reviews would help, you know, because we don't do, like, paper samples or anything like that. Yeah, ivory could mean many different things. So.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Gotcha. So more comparisons, not necessarily reviews.
I mean, you can do, like, an overview of a line, you know, because there's some we haven't done, like Banded Apple. Like, here's a different size.
It's just not as straightforward as, like, an ink. You know, here's an ink.
Right.
There's its properties. Bing, bang, bong. Paper is like
paper
it could be all over the
also
place.
Like a lot
they change a lot.
They do.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
A lot of the early reviews you did are no longer valid because they changed from white to ivory, or they changed the paper weight, or they changed how flat the cover lays. But
then again, that's a reason why a lot of people want reviews is because they change things and they need to know what's up.
The Moleskine torture tests, which are awesome, but the notebooks they're compared against have changed.
Right.
So it's like,
exactly. So yeah.
The Triumph torture test that holds true.
Yes, it does.
That one's pretty cool. Okay.
That was one of my first videos. Wow.
Contests. So we talked about this a little bit ago. You know, we have the ink drop, but we want to expand way beyond ink drop. So like, and it needs to be like formal write-in contests. So and then they'd be themed, like write a poem, you know, or short story, or art, or postcard, or lettering, you know, handwriting type contests. So we have a ton of stuff to give away too. It's all like sitting there ready to go. So we just gotta get organized.
We'll get there.
Yes,
we'll get there.
You're gonna see a lot more giveaways and contests from Goulet pens in 2013. I'm just throwing the gauntlet, throwing down the
gauntlet. Yeah.
Okay. I knew there was an expression around that.
You tend to screw up your expressions pretty well.
I do. Mobile apps. Yes, but it's going to be a long-term project. you know, having like the
It's
swap, like
ask.
a swap shop mobile app, or even just a better shopping experience mobily. I think that we can help with.
I mean, that is
this
so
year.
that is so much on our radar, but that is just a massive undertaking at this point.
Yeah, we'll have random contests too. So going back to that, you know, like blog giveaways, like post a comment and, you know, we kind of choose a random person. Yeah, so if you're not artistically inclined, you still have opportunities to win things. That'll definitely still happen too. But yeah, the mobile apps is a major project, but it's definitely where we want to go because I see that's where things are headed. And we've always been one to try to stay, if not ahead of the curve, at least with it. Certainly not behind it. I don't want to ever be behind the curve.
Oh, no.
No. Oh, I missed one. Pelican pens. We carried the 200s briefly. We learned a lot from that experience. I think we can bring back Pelican pens if we do things a little differently. I'm considering, and you guys can help me out kind of with what you'd want to see. So when we did it before, we just did the 200 line. We did all of the colors, but the nibs were kind of restricted, like fine, medium, broad. We might have had extra fine. I'm thinking more of carrying select colors, but offering the full range of nibs. So anywhere from extra fine to oblique double broad. And then what I would do is basically, like, say we only offered the the black with blue. And if you wanted the black with green, we would just do a special order, be like a 2-week wait for that. So I'm trying to figure out how to structure it, like how much money we want to put in. We haven't really talked about it fully yet, but I'm very open to bringing Pelican back.
I mean, I'm a fan of Pelican pens. They are...
all the way up to 1,000s. I'm not just talking 200, I'm talking 400, 600, 800, 1,000.
Yeah, we're open to them.
And I'm excited about that 800 brown tortoise coming out next month, and I want to carry that.
Yeah. But they're expensive. You pay for them. You know, they're not cheap pens.
No.
But they are still popular, so they're good pens. I have several, and I use them and enjoy them.
Yeah. They're like a staple. You know, people often say, well, how does it compare to an M800? Or how do, you know, I have a 600, and that's my ideal size. How does, you know, so I don't know. They seem like a standard part of fountain pens.
But it's also hard because they're available at a bunch of places, and
they are, and
it's
they're
not the kind of thing that we would be like the only ones that carry them. So
well,
we have to really figure out how to go about it right.
And it's very expensive for us to really dive deep. So we just have to figure out the right approach. So if you're interested in Pelican pens, you know, kind of let us know where your head's at. Either if you have them and you want more, if you've been thinking about one, just so we can kind of figure out what direction we should go in. So Pelican we're considering bringing back.
Yep.
Interviews with manufacturers, like for the blog. Like, you know, we've interviewed Nathan before. We've had Brian Gray on here. And those weren't necessarily formal interviews. I guess Nathan kind of was. But
not really.
No, I mean, we just asked like 2 questions and let him go. But just that sort of thing, like we have connections to manufacturers or distributors that, you know, the general blogger might not have access to, just because of our relationships. So, yeah, definitely like having Nathan in here again, I think would be wonderful. We'll talk to him about that. But some other folks in the industry he'd be interested in, whether it's, you know, folks from TWSBI or, you know, someone at Kenro or, I don't know, someone at Execlair. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
Or, you know, nibmeisters or pen makers or, you know, something like that. Mm-hmm. So... and someone said about Pelican, you've got to beat the Bender and Modishall prices big time since they include tuning. Well, as far as pricing goes, there's definitely an amount that the distributor manufacturer wants us to sell things for. So I can say right now, if we carry Pelican, they're going to be no less than 20% off the list price because that is the agreement that we have.
I think that's pretty much where they price them.
I believe so. So I think they'll be comparable. Now, as far as nib tuning goes, it's not widely publicized, but we do do at least nib inspection and some very minor nib tuning. Like all of the Lamy 2000s. I
wouldn't say that.
No.
Please don't say that.
Okay.
That's overcommitting. You know, it gets really sticky when you get into messing with nibs on new pens.
Okay, I'm not talking about, tuning is a bad word.
Well,
we inspect.
Every manufacturer is different, but some manufacturers, if you touch the nib,
it voids a warranty.
To any type of sandpaper or adjust the tines or anything, that's considered a void of warranty.
So let me back up.
Well, let me clarify here. When you are getting a pen from someone and they're doing adjustments to it, technically that's voiding the warranty for most manufacturers. So then the warranty is, at least on the nib or the part that was adjusted, is going through whatever that retailer you bought, and that's who you need to return it to.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we ran into when we were carrying Sailor before, is we were getting some Sailors with scratchy nibs. We were trying in a good faith effort to just inspect the pens and make some minor adjustments, and they had some real problems with that.
Yeah.
So it eventually led to us dropping the brand because we were getting too many pens with problems. They didn't want us to touch them. We'd have to send them back.
Or we had to pay for the repair, and the cost of the repair plus our cost was actually more than we were able to sell it for. So that obviously didn't make sense.
So that ended that whole relationship there. So that's why I'm like, really...
Okay, forget I said nib tuning.
Yeah, please don't take and run with that. Yeah.
Inspection.
We'll do an inspection on anything.
We make sure
and we can ink it up and test it if you're worried about an expensive pen. That's fine. But if you're getting something ground or adjusting flow and that kind of thing, that's where you get into the warranty issues.
Yeah. We have
so if we get into that kind of stuff, we got to do it confidently enough where we can fix anything that we might screw up.
Exactly.
That's where, Madashaw and Binder are fine because they've got so many years of experience that anything that goes wrong, they know how to fix it. So they're not too worried about that. For us getting into it new, we're taking on a huge risk and liability to ourselves if we don't know what we're doing. So we're not going to tread on that lightly.
No, we have a long-term vision, but it's not going to be anything that happens overnight.
Yeah, so a lot of people ask us, well, why don't you do nib grinding, nib tuning, stuff like that? It's not quite as simple as it seems when you get into the behind-the-scenes stuff. So
definitely looking into that for long-term future, though. It's definitely something that's on our radar and something we are considering. It's not something we're saying, oh, we're never going to do that ever. It is something that I could see as, long-term getting into. But I'm not committing to anything. I'm just talking.
Yeah.
Pen tuning supplies. So things like loops and Mylar paper and, stuff like that. We just got to source it out. That's the tough part, is just finding.
Because when you get into
even just like loops,
random supplies,
we're trying to read through
like
Chinese websites and trying to understand. It's been really tough trying to find wholesale sources for some of these things.
Well, because certain things like Rhodia products. Okay, paper. They have a pencil. They've got some other things. You go through the distributor. They offer things because they've already sourced them out and found them. No problem.
But when there's no
when
distributor,
you're getting into random supplies and products and stuff.
Imported from overseas.
You're literally, it's like, okay, here's the internet. Go find these things. Okay, what's good? I don't know. I got to buy a bunch of things and try them out and see what's good. And this supplier sucks. Okay, forget that. I'll try somebody else. And it's like, it takes forever to source out in a reliable supply, that kind of stuff. So that's why I've been dragging my feet on it, is because we've been so busy with other stuff. It's like, okay, well,
but
I'll get to it.
Yes, we want to. And you and Brian Gray even shot a video at DC about how to do some basic nib tuning.
We did.
But we didn't want to publish it until we had some supplies to go with it, but we haven't been able to find the supplies. So it's on our radar. Definitely on our radar. We just need to find the products.
In the meantime, Richard Binder's got some supplies and stuff. He's got loops and Mylar paper and stuff. So, he's a nice guy. Go give him some business too.
Yeah.
He's got the supplies. So.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Finally, someone mentioned oblique Lamy nibs. I did find out recently we can get oblique steel nibs. The gold ones are, if you want a Lamy 2000 with oblique, we can special order those. I don't know how long they take, maybe 2 months. But we can special order them. But oblique steel nibs, I believe we can source regularly, just like we did with the left-handed nibs.
Yeah.
So I
don't know exactly what size they are. I think they're about a medium.
I think so.
Size. They're sort of like the Lamy left-hand nibs,
which are
medium. So it's kind of like it's just one size of. It's not like you can get oblique broad Lamy or oblique fine, whatever. So it's we'll have to see once we get them in exactly what they are.
So that was just what was on the list of what...
And oblique is sort of like an italic, but instead of being ground flat like this, it's kind of tilted.
You actually, you have some drawings of that in one of your Fountain Pen 101 videos on nib grinds.
Fountain Pen 101, yeah, go check that out.
On nib sizes and nib grinds. So those were all the ideas that were suggested through Facebook and Reddit. Obviously, people email us with other suggestions, but I just wanted to just kind of run down, because I didn't have an opportunity to comment on every single one to say yes or no or... clarify. But now that we've thrown all these ideas at you,
now it's time to go. Bye.
No, I mean, and you can watch it back if you need to. Let us know what you think. If you strongly are like, yeah, I would totally buy that from you, or I think that's a diversion. I'm not interested.
I tell you what's going to help is
specific brands and products.
Well, what's going to help us to make some of these things happen is for you to share your knowledge with us.
Yeah.
Give us some ideas, give us some sources, some contacts, links, brands, whatever you know. Go ahead and shoot it our way. By way of email would be probably ideal.
Either of us would be fine.
Yeah. But also, try to start some threads on Reddit and Fountain Pen Network. See what kind of interest there is in the community for this kind of stuff, because that is what's really going to help us to see, okay, where is our effort best spent? Where is the biggest hole in the fountain pen world that we can help to fill?
Hey, recommend your favorite book on handwriting, how to improve your handwriting.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff like that out there, but it's kind of scattered and spread out. If we can just help to gather that stuff into one place and get a lot of people's attention on certain topics like we have, we just listed out like 20 different things, and each one of those things we could spend a month on. So if we want to accomplish any of them, we're going to need as much help and ideas as possible. But that's really the main thing, is like, if you know anything or know anybody or can help us out in any way, it's only going to help us to achieve these things faster, and it'll help the whole fountain pen community in the long run. So that's my spiel.
Yeah.
So that said, it's 10:22, and we need to start wrapping up because we got a lot more to do tonight still.
I got some new products to list on our website.
Yeah, definitely.
Quick question. I want to make a trip down to Richmond and visit you guys. When is the best day or week and time? We're open.
Shoot us an email.
We're open Monday through Friday, about 9 to 5. Usually a little earlier, a little later, but 9 to 5.
We get asked from time to time about visiting our shop. We don't give tours of our warehouse.
Yeah.
Basically, you're restricted to our front area,
reception
area. So you won't get to see the whole shop. Just be aware of that.
And we don't really have like a display to like try any products.
No, none
it's really
of that.
Just like if you want to come and talk to us.
It's really kind of a boring place to come, actually, because we restrict all the cool areas.
Well, at least for the time being. Protect all the hard work we've done.
And not to mention, we're pretty much swamped and slammed, so we can't like sit and talk for half a day or anything like that. But if you want to just come, if you happen to be in a relatively convenient location near us and you want to swing by,
try to let us know in advance so we can, make sure we're free. So
yeah, we should have a showroom. I know, it's like we have so few people that come and visit us. It's hard to justify us spending our time and money doing that versus doing other things. So it's not that something we put a whole lot of effort into, at least in the time being. But if you want to visit us, we're open to it.
There's like only one.
We're kind of in a rural area.
I was gonna say, there's even in the whole Richmond area, there's only one brick and mortar store I'm even aware of, and it's a Paradise Pen chain, and it really doesn't get a lot of traffic, and I've heard mixed things about the knowledge of the people who work there and such. It's just not Richmond. It just isn't a big fountain pen city, I guess. Not like New York or, well, I guess any bigger city.
Well, New York, Chicago, DC, Dallas, LA. Those are
pretty much
the big ones. And if you're outside of that,
we're like kind of in a rural area. Yeah, we're right near the Bass Pro Shops. Yes, it's not really.
We have 3 gigantic sporting goods stores within a quarter mile of our shop.
Those 2.
No, you got Dick's Sporting Goods, Green Top, and Bass Pro Shops. Yeah. So it's like, that's really kind of more of the crowd that's in our area, is the hunting fishing crowd. Not so much the fountain penning crowd, but, that's okay. That's why we do everything online. So, anyway.
Yeah, so it's not been something, and I mean, I'm sure all the tax and there's so many implications to that, but anyway. Yeah, we do well with the
put it this way,
online.
we could do that, but it would help a lot fewer people than doing the other things.
It would be like a whole separate business, and I like what we're doing.
Yeah,
I like being able to do this and have all these people from all over the world just hanging out and talking pens.
Exactly.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, we thought we'd have nothing to talk about. Look at that.
Oh, we have plenty. We probably could have made this 2 separate broadcasts. Honestly.
I feel like I talked way too much.
You kind of talked a lot, but that's okay.
You let me talk.
You had a lot of good. What am I gonna do? Like yell at you and not have you talk?
No, I mean,
you had good things to say. I mean, that's all right. So anyway, we're gonna go. We're gonna go now. So that's it for tonight's broadcast.
Iroshizuku tomorrow.
Yes. So
excited about that.
Thank you everybody for joining us tonight. We will have this video posted up on YouTube and up on our blog. Look for other stuff coming. I've been kind of short on the videos lately, but that's because we've been so busy with other things. But don't worry,
they're coming.
I'm gonna keep going. We're just gonna do what we can.
You got a video up today.
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll keep going. So anyway, that's it for tonight for January 9th, 2013. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.